I'm just moving my dumplings off stream.
Maybe people want to see the dumplings.
Well, I've eaten them now.
Oh. Or maybe they don't
That
want to see
was
the dumplings.
the world's quickest dinner eating, that was.
Yeah, you get used to that when you're a parent, don't you?
Yeah.
Either quick or cold, that's your choice usually for dinner.
Absolutely.
Cool. Good evening, Grots.
Mark is a picture today.
He was a picture, yes. He's not here. So we'll be lessened by the fact that he's not here.
We are definitely lessened by the fact that he is not here.
Yeah.
Hello everybody, I don't know if you can all hear us. Can you let us know in the chat if you can hear both of us?
And are the levels okay? Do we need to change anything?
And if our levels are all good. Mike paints it. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Aridan, that's literally what we did. Mike says we didn't invite him to be a treble stream. We could have invited him and it didn't even occur to us. And I apologise unreservedly for not thinking about that.
Well, I mean, considering I couldn't even get the two of us on the screen together, so I don't know how we'd get a third person's hobby onto the screen. Because this looks super ghetto on the screen right now.
We've got like a little black bit in the corner, which I feel like we should have a logo or something in.
That would be great. Yeah, I mean, if you would join the... yeah, I said 8:45, you joined them at about 3 minutes past 9, so I mean, if you'd given me more than minus 3 minutes to set the screen up, then yeah, maybe. We could have a little logo in the corner. Good evening, everybody.
I spent the last hour cuddling a little crying boy.
Mm-hmm. That happens to the best of us.
So what are you painting today, John?
I was going to do a little bit of this Land Raider because it's been neglected for the best part of probably 20 years. And I do have these sponsons that I bought from Etsy.
Oh, were those the ones that you got, sort of like the 3D printed ones?
Yeah, and look how close they are. Like, I mean, now that they're sprayed, they don't fit, but like they would stay in without any glue or anything. Look at that.
Oh,
it's not too bad. So
they look pretty good as well, don't they?
Do you know what? What's funny is after I made them, I actually found the official redeemers, and the official ones do look a little bit better because this is a Crusader kit, so it should have come with the flamers. I just assumed I'd lost them 20 years ago, but no, I actually found them.
Oh right.
So okay, it's fine.
I was gonna say because originally Crusader didn't come with the flamers; they sort of added them in later.
Well, it must have been. I must have had it because I found the sponsor flamers. I couldn't believe it when I found them because I was like, "Oh my god, John, you're an idiot." But that's usually how my life goes.
Just one thing, John. You know when you're showing me things, I'm about a little bit delayed because you haven't got the camera. I can only see you on the screen.
So I'm seeing you in real time, but you see me.
You're seeing me in real time, but I'm seeing you about 10 seconds late.
Okay, well I've made your window nice and big because people want to see what you're doing because you are the professional pro and I'm the amateur chump.
Now I'm a professional pro, not painter. I've barely picked up a paintbrush in the last few months, but we will get somewhere. So I'm going to play Dante, and I'm going to see how far I can get in an hour, or an hour and a bit.
A Primaris Dante.
Primaris Dante.
Yeah, an hour and a bit. You're going to probably have him more complete than the one that I've had for months.
What you commissioned Mike to paint yours? There he is.
Mine's half done. It looks cool.
So he's all built, he's all black, and now he's going to be gold.
Ardeen, good evening. Mike says we're loud and clear. Miguel, good evening. Marius, good evening. Marius, have you decided if you're coming to the Plastic Crackheads GT yet? I've been ribbing him last night because he only lives like an hour and 15 minutes away.
Did you really?
So, yeah, so even if you don't want to play, Marius, you need to come and say hello so I can put a face to a name. I feel like.
See, I really wanted to come to this, but for some reason you decided that the best time to put a tournament on was bloody term time.
That's because Scottish and English holidays are different, man. I'm sorry. For some reason, Scottish and English kids don't have the same holidays. Why? I don't know.
I don't know, jealousy maybe.
Because sometimes you can get
Scottish kids get more holidays actually.
I think they get 6 weeks in the summer.
I think it's the same, to be fair.
Because Scottish holidays sometimes start like 2 weeks before the English holidays. So if you're willing to go on holiday the first 2 weeks, you get it cheaper because
really?
they haven't hiked the prices yet for the English school holidays. It's weird. It's weird.
You know when it just sort of goes blup? A bit of a blup. You're going to see that on the camera in a second when it just went blup. Because it turned out that the airbrush seems to have a little bit of a leak. Come on, what are you doing? You going to work for me? I haven't used it for a little while. This is what happens when you don't use your airbrush for a while.
What are you doing? Retributor gold, or have you got some sort of other gold in there?
This is a colour called Necro Gold.
Necro Gold.
I'm just going to give it a bit of it's just quite a dull, slightly greenish tone.
Okay.
Because I like to do my Blood Angels gold look a bit desaturated.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I like the idea that it's kind of faded and fallen glory sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I like that idea too. I always wash all my Retributor gold with it's not it might be Carbo Crimson actually. It's either that. No, I wash it with Flesh Shade, Reichland Flesh Shade. Brings it way more bronzy. Gets you like some deep reds, and I like that.
Yeah. So my Custos are a much more warm gold.
Okay.
So I like the idea that they're still on Terra. They've still got access to stuff, so their equipment is much more opulent.
Makes sense, yeah.
So all of my Blood Angels have been done with a bit of a greenish tone. So we're going to build Dante and we're going to paint him up, but we're going to also put a bit of a green shadow in this.
Okay, interesting. I've really very much enjoyed. I'm now 6 games in a row, wins in a row with Sons of Sanguinius. I won again last night. I don't really know what's going on. Like, do people just struggle to play against Sons of Sanguinius right now, or are they actually pretty good right now?
I think Sons of Sanguinius is pretty good now. I've admittedly not played enough 40k lately. I've just not had the time. But what little I have played, I've been playing with Sons of Sanguinius, and I've really enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed it as well, actually. Like, yeah, more than I expected to when they made that. Like, the only change they made was like +1 strength on the charge, right? It was pretty minor. I felt like it was pretty minor, but
yeah.
For me anyway, I feel like I'm playing 40k again. Like, I'm playing a melee army and I'm enjoying it. Yeah. Which is nice, because I was getting a bit sick of the shooting army, honestly. I guess I'm not a shooting person, really.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more. I've always been a bit more codex compliant, if you know what I mean. I don't mind the shooting army.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it either. I mean, it's more, I think, that I like having at least half the army be close combat, probably. Mario says Reichland Flesh Shade Gloss is the greatest of all time. Shame they don't make it anymore. I bought a couple of pots though. It's a real shame that they changed all those washes, isn't it?
They're just different. They if you use them more like a traditional wash, then the new ones work a bit better. But if you're using them more as an all-over tone change, then the old ones work better.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on what you want. Mike's saying they use a Druchii Violet to shade the gold, and I do as well, but only when I'm doing a more warmer gold. So I do use the kind of violet colour if I'm doing my Custos, but these guys get this much. I think the green contrasts quite nicely and give it this really desaturated look that I'm going for.
So I have a question about I was going to say, can we talk about anything tonight, or is there subjects you want to stay clear from?
Me?
Yeah.
Talk about what you want. No, I've got nothing to not talk about, as it were. What is it to be talking about?
I was going to say, have you watched, being that you're like the painting maestro, have you watched Peachy Tips yet? Do you know what Peachy Tips is?
Druchii Tips?
Peachy
Tips. Oh,
yeah.
Is it Peachy as in used to work for GW Peachy?
Yeah.
I haven't, but I saw he seems to have his own channel now. Has he left the painting phase then?
He has indeed left the painting phase.
Do we know why he's left the painting phase?
There was like a drama-filled Reddit thread. I think my gist of understanding was the other two guys were... I guess he wanted more of a share, or he wanted to be involved in management decisions or something. It's the other two guys' baby, right? So they didn't want to do that, I guess.
It's sort of, it's a podcast, isn't it? It's theoretically what we're supposed to be, but they actually make a podcast, whereas we talk bollocks over a PowerPoint.
It's a very easy thing to say, make a podcast. In reality, coming up with interesting things people want to watch 352 weeks a year is actually pretty tough.
I think the other difference is that it's a lot easier to do an audio-only thing when you're in the same room with each other.
Yeah, true. Or maybe we just suck at making podcasts.
The fact that we have to show things to each other on a PowerPoint makes it a little bit more tricky.
Hey, one day we'll be in the same room. I'm looking forward to it.
One day we shall be in the same room. Mark come to visit me on Tuesday.
Yeah, you said he visited on Tuesday. So what, is your house en route to the airport or something?
No, so he goes on holiday with all his World of Warcraft guild buddies.
Yeah.
So he goes over to meet a group of those guys in a city, Ely. So it's not too far from it. It's about 40 minutes from here. So you pretty much go past my house to get to his buddies' houses.
Ah, right, okay.
Like his holiday from.
I see. Cool. Well, back on my point. Peachy Tips. He has his own channel now. Yeah. He's doing, I guess, various painting content.
Yep.
And I watched a couple of his new videos because, like, why not, right?
Yeah. Why not?
And I enjoyed them. It seems like everybody that worked at Games Workshop now has a YouTube channel.
I like Louise Sugden's channel.
Yeah.
That's. I do think she's very personable. I liked her when she was doing the painting videos on Warhammer Plus, and I think they've really taken a hit since she left.
Apparently, they've gone back on Warhammer Plus to actually showing the presenters again, but I honestly...
Really? I have to admit that I haven't watched Warhammer Plus for ages, and I'm really not getting my money's worth out of that at the moment.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Andonius. How are you? Yeah, we don't exactly know why Peachy Tips left the painting phase, but he's doing his own thing now. I guess check him out if you haven't. I watched one of his videos. I think it was Sunday. I was watching some 40k video. I don't know why I was watching 40k videos.
Yep.
I was. Probably had some downtime. I'm very excited. For Blood Angels Commander tomorrow night, tomorrow's tactics video is the first time ever I've done a sponsored video.
Oh yes, you told me about this.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see it. I
was very excited to film. So I have to just stop and be like, now, let me tell you for 1 minute about this week's sponsor. And I was like, this feels like legitly cool. Like I don't suck at doing YouTube things anymore or something. I don't know. It felt. I try to make it very authentic, and try to make it. It feel like watching it back. It felt. I don't know if it felt tacky, but like watching yourself is kind of a difficult thing to get comfortable with, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when I first made my YouTube channel, I honestly couldn't watch any of my own videos for like 2 years. Like, just could not watch them.
Yeah.
But now, see, when it's actually kind of funny is like sometimes when I want to remember things about Blood Angels, I go and watch my own videos. I can just watch myself fine. Like, it's just like I'm just watching another YouTube channel now. James.
I remember what I was doing the other day, but I was watching one of our videos the other day about something. Oh no, that was it. It wasn't on this channel. It was on our Star Wars Unlimited channel.
Okay.
And I was watching the video that Mark made about how to build a deck.
Yep.
Because I wanted to remind myself of deck building, and then I also rewatched a video that he did about how to play the game.
Oh, that's good.
I wanted to remind myself of the rules.
It's cool when you get to a point where you don't hate yourself watching your own videos.
Yeah. I also watched a couple of your games as well when I was preparing. So I'm not going to lie, I played Mark at Star Wars Unlimited the other day.
Yes.
And I did beat him.
And he's been to 3 or 4 tournaments already?
Sorry?
He's been to like 4 tournaments already, has he not?
Yeah, I know. And it was only my 3rd ever game in person.
Well, he has a 100% win rate against me. I've never beaten him yet. So I think I just suck at Star Wars Unlimited, honestly.
Well, I don't think you suck at Star Wars Unlimited, but the difference is that I sat down and I watched him beat you every single time.
Oh, and you learned from that.
For what he wanted to do.
Ah, okay, sure. Sure, yeah, you came in prepared, you did your research. Good for you, man.
I did my research. But because I really wanted to beat Mark. And Mark's got 2 decks, and his other deck would have just smashed mine, but he played with the other one.
Okay.
He played with the more balanced one, not the crazy, because he was telling me all about different types styles of deck always beat other styles of deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So aggro decks beat slower ramp decks, and mid-range decks beat aggro decks, and ramp decks beat mid-range decks.
Okay.
And mine is a ramp deck, so it's like a late game deck.
Uh-huh.
So its weakness is aggro deck, so I'd have got smashed if he'd played with the other one.
I see. Okay.
Although I'm working on it, because he showed me that AI system you can use to play against the computer.
Yes.
And you can load decks into it. So I found what seems to be the top aggro deck at the moment. I've loaded that into it so I can keep playing games against it, so I can sort of work out the very best way that I can do it with my deck that's unoptimal for doing so, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's very cool. Everybody thinks I'm sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. It wasn't Raid Shadow Legends. I heard that they pay a phenomenal amount of money, so if ever do... Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know who said, but somebody said they play like a lot of money.
I'd love to be sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Do you want me to let you into a secret?
You play Raid Shadow Legends?
I do play Raid Shadow Legends.
There you go. So you would actually
play like huge amounts, but I started playing it off the back of all those adverts during lockdown.
Okay, so you are their target audience, literally.
During lockdown, I started playing Raid Shadow Legends, and I still have it on my phone now. I don't play it huge amounts, and I certainly don't put any money into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do play it a bit. I'm nearly level capped in it, and
for you, I have a half an hour walk to work every day, so sometimes I do buy the odd game from my phone just because, like, if it's a nice sunny day and I'm just walking for half an hour, walk every day.
Games I can buy.
Yeah, me too. That's just growing up in the olden days.
I don't mind paying a tenner for a game if it's a game that I bought and it's mine. Yeah,
I'm the same. I would prefer to pay once than to... The thing that drives me crazy is when the game's £60 and then the second you get into it, it's like, do you want to buy some loot boxes?
Really
I'm like, hold on a minute, did I not already just give you £60? That's like, either do free to play and ask me for like little transactions, or do full price, but don't do both, right? Like, you got to choose one of them.
Both is what I find very egregious.
Yeah,
I'm not bothered by. I mean, don't get me wrong, Raid gets on my tits occasionally because it's very egregious with the constant adverts and things.
Uh-huh.
But it didn't cost me anything, so I don't really feel that bad in.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right.
Make money somewhere.
They can do one or the other. I am currently sponsored by clothing, and I am wearing said clothing. Yes, Marius.
Are you really?
Yes.
I didn't see your shirt.
Well, it's just got a tiny little logo here.
Is it one of their more plain ones? Is it?
Yeah, it's more of like the designer brand.
Yeah, because I do genuinely, because they sponsored Squidmar.
They did sponsor Squidmar, and I watched one of Squidmar's videos and noticed that he wore their clothing for the entire video, and he like changed a few times throughout the video.
He did, because he was advertising them, and so like every time he'd done a cut, he'd wear a different shirt.
So I boot on a bunch of different. I boot on a bunch of different of the clothing that he sent me throughout the video. Yeah.
I think that was wicked. So I'm quite excited to know, because the big question is, we're not sponsored, so we can say what we like on it.
Yeah.
The big question is what's the quality like? Because they're not cheap.
What, the Into the AM stuff?
Yeah.
I think it's actually awesome. Like,
it is good quality, is it? Because that's the thing, isn't it? You never know with a sponsored one, because in a sponsored video, everyone's always like, "Oh yeah, they're the top quality, and it's the best deal ever if you use my discount code at blah 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 blah." And you're like, "Is it though? Is it, or is it just they're paying you money to say this?" So
they sent me the clothing, obviously, for free, and all they asked, like, because I was expecting, like, they would ask you to say certain things or whatever. They actually just said, "We just want an honest review," and I was like, so I guess by saying that, it kind of makes you think, well, they must have pretty good stuff if they're not asking for anything but honesty, right?
Yeah. So and then I do know a little bit about the sponsorships, and a lot of them are normally saying things like, "We need engagement. We need to know the video you make needs to have this many views on it, and we want this many click-throughs to our products."
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's a few things I can't tell you, but the thing I can tell you is they just wanted me to be honest about the product, and I was like, well, if you've met me, I'm like the most fucking honest person. I'm too honest. Always get myself into trouble for being too honest.
Shit at not being honest. If you had to like say a particular corporate spiel, and as we've discovered in the other videos, not swear through it.
Yeah. What's up, Rezio? What's funny is we played last night's game on the Tabletop Tactics app, right? And that's the fourth game that I've played on there. I'm undefeated in the Tabletop Tactics Open League now. Yeah. But Colin was saying, he was like, so you've moved into the, like, I'm 12th in their ladder now. So, like, I'm pretty high up, I guess. 12th is not bad. Most of the people above me have played more games than me, but I only play one game a week, so what can you do, right? But Colin was saying, like, how do you know that everybody above you is legitimate? And I was like, well, I think most Warhammer players are pretty trustworthy. And he was like, And he was like, how do we know you're trustworthy? And I was like, well, Colin, I only play one game a week on stream. So if I lose the game, pretty much everyone can just look at the stream and go, Johnny lost the game. And he's like, so you're going to have like secret games off stream where you just record wins. And I was like, sure, Colin, I only get out once a week because we've got 2 kids. So if you just suddenly see all these games appearing, Blood Angel Commander won another game in the league, Blood Angels Commander won another game in the league. I was like, it's not really happening, is it? You know, it's like, at least you know my games are 100% legit.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a cool idea, the Open League that Tabletop Tactics have done.
I love the idea because it is honesty based, admittedly, but yes. I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, I'm all for like my narrative play and playing for fun. I'm not a tournament guy anymore.
I think 90% of people are honest, right?
Yeah, and that's the way I look at that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If anybody wonders, I've now switched to a slightly lighter gold. This is Elven Gold, still by scale 75. And I'm just doing a kind of the top surfaces. I'm just blending a little bit of this in with the Necro Gold underneath. So I've left a little bit in the airbrush as well, just to try and help the 2 colours blend together.
Nice. You're very good at painting, though. So anyone that needs advice, Tony's the man. You want to be watching Tony's camera, not mine, probably.
I don't know about that, but I just like painting. I've done it for a long time. It's my favourite part of the hobby these days.
Yeah, but you go to learn tutorials and all sorts of stuff, don't you? Greetings, Island Phoenix.
I try to go to classes and that when I can, yeah. I've done a lot of classes with Cult Paint.
Yeah. But honestly, having been gifted... I don't know what you call it. Like, I had to... You know, when we upload a video to YouTube and there's a button that says this video includes paid promotion or you got free products.
Yeah.
So I clicked that, obviously, for tomorrow's video because I did get free products. I haven't been paid yet, but I assume once the video comes out and does things, they will pay me.
It does the things it needs to do.
But honestly, like, my review in that video is 100% legit. Like, the clothing that they sent me is like, it's literally like the stuff I would wear. I'm hoping the video does well because I want more of their clothing.
They have some amazing designs, so if they fancy sponsoring Grots, I will definitely wear them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess they're reaching out and looking at smaller channels because I didn't realise this. Squidmore has blown up since I was watching him before. How many subscribers do you think Squidmore has now?
Don't know, 100,000?
600,000.
Fucking. Can I just say, when I started watching Squid, because I'm a mod for Squidmar.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been for years, and if I'm honest, I don't do enough of it because I'm generally worrying about this one and the BA one and the unlimited one. But when I started watching him, he had 400 subscribers.
Wow. Well, I think when I started watching him, he was in the 80, 100,000 sort of range, and then I just saw him that. I just watched a video the other day. I actually was really interested to see his video about Into the AM to see like what he's just to see how he tackles doing a sponsored video, I guess, because I've never done one before. I watched a bunch of creators.
Some of the ones he does quite well because he does like little skits and that. But I will say some of them are a little bit not sure.
Well, you can let me. You can give me feedback on mine tomorrow. Let me know if I can improve it for next time.
And you know me, I'll give you very honest feedback.
Yeah,
I'll send you a text about it. It'll be like, John, what the hell? What was that? I'm embarrassed to be considered your friend.
You are not still waiting on your Commander Dante, Highland Phoenix. You are joking, right? You have got to be joking.
I've made far too much of this bright gold. Like, far too much. Like, there's such a waste of paint.
Arden says, I don't find him relatable anymore. His projects are just over the top now. I mean...
Can I let you into a secret? I don't really like Lucas. Who's the guy who does these videos with me.
That's his new, like, assistant or something.
Looks like Harry Potter.
Okay, I never put two and two together, but sure, he does look a bit like Harry Potter. Not sure what I didn't have a problem with Luke. I do not have time to watch as much content as I used. Ever since I started making YouTube videos, you lose the ability to watch as much YouTube, right? Yeah. It's just like if you. I often talk about like my YouTube channel as a job because like
it is a job.
To do a video every week requires like dedication and sacrifice.
Yeah. It's the reason there isn't a separate, properly produced video on Grots every week. Is you haven't got time because you're doing BAC. Mark hasn't got time because he's got a long job, and my job means I might get one night off a week if I'm lucky. Yeah. So putting, and to do when we were doing a video a week and we were putting videos out all the time. That was a massive commitment. The amount of work that went into that every single day was immense.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's really difficult to do when it doesn't. Yeah, it's not a job because it takes the same hours as a full-time job, but you don't get paid like a full-time job.
No. Yeah, I'm very blessed with Blood Angels Commander, but it is a. It does require like sacrifices every week. So people often come on, like Reziel's always asking me, like, "Hey John, do you see this battle report or whatnot?" And I'm like, "No, I wish I was able to just sit around and watch a battle report. Sometimes the hardest part for me actually is coming up, because 52 weeks in a year. I've been doing Blood Angels Commander for almost 4 years this August. I do a tactics video every Friday. So at some point, I'm going like, what the effing tactics video can I make this week? Because what do I got to talk about? Like, maybe I'm like at the moment my list has won 6 games in a row, so it's like I'm happy. Like like I've got a. Yeah. I actually this week wasn't bad, but there's do you know what? It hasn't actually been bad for a few months, but there's definitely been maybe towards the end of an edition. Right, the end of 9th edition, where I've made every single possible tactics video I could make about 9th edition Blood Angels. Like, what am I doing this week? That's when it gets challenging, because it's like, shit, I gotta make a video, but I've got nothing to talk about. It's not like I'm Auspex Tactics and I can just go like, well, do you know what? I haven't done Tau in a while,
Whenever whatever the news is, Auspex will report on it, and. Absolute props to the guy. He's an absolute machine. He never misses a bit of news, does he?
No, and he makes about 4 videos a day.
The amount of work that he puts into getting all of the news, and he's the first when there's news released, he's the first person that's got a video out on it.
Does he go on holiday?
He did go on holiday once, I swear, and he had like a load of pre-filmed.
Oh right, at bits. Christmas or something, he did have a load of pre-filmed bits. Yeah. I think I remember that now.
So okay. I'm now using a really pale gold. It's got quite a lot of green in it. And I'm just putting a few little dots and highlights and things around just to get that kind of slightly, again, keep that desaturated look going. And that's actually pretty much the gold done. Let's tip that in there.
How does Auspex Tactics video make a video nearly every day? He does make a video every day. It's his full-time job, I think, at this point, Mike.
More than one video most days. I'm a Patreon for Auspex Tactics.
If you would like to see anything in the next Tactics video, put a comment down below. Sorted.
Because John's desperate for ideas.
Yeah, I've actually been very lucky these last few weeks because Blood Angels are winning loads of tournaments and people love seeing the tournament lists. So that's...
is your Friday video a breakdown of that tournament that won the weekend?
No.
That's not like you. Oh no, because you've got the AM video, haven't you?
I don't. Yeah, but I don't like doing. I feel like I got to keep switching up. So, like, if I've done a couple of tournament wins in the last month, I don't like to do too many because, like, at some point people will be like, "Well, I watched 4 tournament lists. I want to see something else, right?"
Yeah.
So I do try and probably only do like probably one tournament, maybe 2 a month.
I would like a comparison of then, John. You haven't done this one for a while.
Okay.
all the melee dreadnoughts.
Oh, I haven't done melee dreadnoughts for a while, I suppose.
I
Yeah.
think you've done that since 9th edition. But that might be a laugh, actually. The melee output, the dreadnoughts.
I will put that one in the back burner. Appreciate it.
Yeah, see, look at how useful I am.
You are a very useful friend to have, I must admit. You still haven't painted me my entire army, but you're a good friend.
I painted Mark's Blood Bowl forces.
You did paint him.
I'm just looking at the chat for a minute.
Atlas is painting Dante as well right now.
Who is?
Atlas.
Oh, nice. I bet yours looks a bit more thought out than mine. I'm trying to paint Dante in like an hour and a half. I need to put a little bit more interest in that gold because he's a lot of gold on him, and that's a little bit
He is
more.
a lot of gold.
A little bit of green in there.
He's very much a lot of gold, isn't he?
Find my green that I want to use. This is bad. Normally I sit there and I properly think these things out and I plan them through.
And you haven't planned tonight. You had kid aggro. That happens.
I did. I know what I'm looking for. Where is it? What's with green camo? I was about to say it'll be the last one that I look at, but that's because I'll stop looking once I've found it.
It's usually how life works.
People always say that. Oh, why is it was in the last place you looked? Well, because you found it, so you stopped looking.
I never once thought of that. But that's kind of funny,
Okay.
actually.
I find that very irritating. So I'm just going to use a little bit of contrast paint.
Heresy. What are you using the contrast paint for?
Just to add a bit of shade. So I'm just putting it straight in the airbrush with a little bit thinner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to put... This is a sort of dark green colour.
Okay.
And I'm going to thin that down so that I can just very gently add a little bit of interest to the shadows.
Nice.
Mike was saying earlier that he normally uses Druchii Violet for this sort of thing, and I do as well, but I just don't think that the violet works with the kind of desaturated colours. So I'm just going to put just the tiniest little bit into the shadows.
So, a lot of people seem disappointed about last night's reveals, huh? Who in the chat was excited about last night's reveals? I thought the new Chaos Lord of the jump pack looked cool, for sure.
He looked wicked, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen a Chaos Lord of the jump pack, actually. Or at least that's what it felt like. I can't remember the last time I saw one that had a jump pack.
Well, they took him out of the last codex, didn't they? And loads of people got really upset because the last Chaos Space Marine codex removed the jump pack Chaos Lord. And Legends.
So he's back?
And he's back. Yeah, they brought him back from Legends.
Well, that's good. I mean, is he Primaris sized? I guess. Yeah, he would be.
He looks Primaris sized. I also noticed that he's got Primaris knee pads.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's supposed to be Primaris, but no, because he's a Night Lord. But
I guess they're just scaling everything up and maybe not quite calling it Primaris.
Yeah, which is what I originally think they should have done with Space Marines, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you and most everybody else probably thinks that by now.
Yeah.
There was a release last night, Highland Phoenix, from Adepticon. Someone posted it in the members only room in Discord. I mean, it wasn't that much new stuff, right?
No, not really. Not for 40k. There wasn't. There was a whole new edition of Sigmar, which is going to make a big difference.
I was going to say, did you watch the trailer for the edition of Sigmar?
I didn't. I haven't had time today. I was going to watch it tonight. Get a chance.
Somebody in chat.
Yeah.
Which actor was it that was the voice of the female when she was like Sigmar lied, right at the start of the trailer? I think she's like the narrator of the trailer, because I'm like, I recognise her. She's from a video game or she's from some pop culture thing, and I was like, I know this voice, but I just can't place. Oh, do you know what? Now that I say it again in my head, it's not that woman from Game of Thrones, was it? Sounded like Cersei from Game of Thrones, actually. Maybe it was her, I don't know. But like, it was a voice where I feel like I definitely knew who it was. and it sounded a bit English, so that's why I'm thinking it's Cersei, because she's got that sort of English voice, maybe. But maybe I'm wrong.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, you'll see it later, and you can let me know.
I bought the last edition of, third edition Age of Sigmar.
Yeah,
and it's effectively all still sitting in the box.
Cool. I've got the second edition of Age of Sigmar, and it's all sitting in the box.
Oh, I can top that. I bought first edition Age of Sigmar as well.
So if we
this is really true. I thought it was a specialist game.
Oh right.
I didn't realise it was a replacement for fantasy, and at the time I was a huge fantasy player.
James, I'm right. James is telling me I'm right. It's the game. It's the girl from Game of Thrones. So what happens if we take your first edition of Age of Sigmar and my second edition, and then your third edition, and we put them in a cauldron and we burn some incest? Does it become a fourth edition?
Well, no, I think it just averaged out at second edition.
Okay. Mine, literally not even a single model is off the sprue. I do not know why I bought it.
I'm pretty sure that neither of mine have, either the first edition or the third edition.
Nice.
I got them out. But I remember the trailer for that edition. It was such a cool trailer, and it's such an amazing box as well. The Dominion box. I really liked it, and I really like those models now. I bought them because I wanted to paint them and stuff. I've just not had time. Yeah. So now I put that green in there, but of course it's gone a little bit. It's
gone a bit what?
A bit too green. So I'm just bringing back some of the mid-tone in a few areas, just to gold him up a little bit more.
I was going to say, if everyone mass abandons the Blood Angels Commander channel and I've got nothing doing, then I guess I'll finally open that box of Sigmar and I'll become the Sigmar Commander.
Well, second edition Sigmar Commander.
Yeah, I'll specifically call it second edition Sigmar Commander. That's the name. That's got a very catchy ring to it, Tony.
I like it.
It was so funny. I absolutely destroyed Mortarion last night, and it felt so good after last week. The week before, Colin's Mortarion died, and he was convinced, absolutely convinced he'd recorded his CP wrong. He's like, I should have one more CP here, and he didn't rage quit the game, but he basically checked out of the game, right? He just completely capitulated.
I watched that one. I did get a chance to watch that, but I haven't watched your game from last night.
So last week he completely capitulated when Mortarion died. So last night when I killed Mortarion, I was dancing around the room going, "Are you happy? Are you happy? He's really dead. He's really dead." And I was it was glorious. It was so glorious. So Colin lost again to the might of the Blood Angels when it was glorious. Mortarion's really, really powerful in this edition now. They changed his aura to just be kind of obnoxious. So it stops. It's really weirdly worded, but you can't use anything that makes his characteristics worse. For example, Lamarta's -1 damage. No, because that's minusing 1 from his damage characteristic, so it doesn't work. Armor of Contempt. No, because that's minusing 1 from his armor penetration, so you can't use that.
That's really obnoxious, that is.
Smoke Screen, no, because it's minusing 1 to his hit roll, and it's giving... I guess you get the cover part of Smoke Screen, but you can't use Smoke Screen to get the -1, so it's just every single rule that I've got, all my stratagems, it's nope, can't use it,
all
can't
your
use
defensive
it.
stuff really
can't use it. Yeah. So Mortarion is just he's pretty good now. I like him. Colin didn't play the best game last night, which obviously helps, but Mortarion was very difficult for me to deal with. And yeah, it's not just Mortarion. Atlas is shouting. It's everyone within 6. So if Mortarion's basically next to 2 Plague Burst crawlers, the Plague Burst crawlers can ignore the indirect fire. They can ignore anything that makes you -1 damage. It's just it's really cool.
That's really powerful.
Yeah. Tough game, but it's good to.
Yeah, it sounds like.
I always like beating.
I do watch your videos, but I struggle to watch them when they're on.
No, I get you.
I normally have to watch them the next day or so when I'm eating my breakfast.
Yeah, I all watch stuff at the weirdest time as well.
So I've done all my airbrushing for now. I'm going to start cracking on just blacking out some detail now.
Nice.
I need some brushes though. Need a paintbrush.
That's always important, isn't it?
It's going to help. Right, what am I going to use?
James says we should sell on our Sigmar boxes so that we have money for the Blood Angels releases that are coming up.
I mean, I probably should, but I'm a massive hoarder and I hate selling stuff. The problem is that a few years ago I sold so much of my Warhammer. I sold whole armies of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just regretted it since.
Which armies did you sell?
I sold my Blood Angels a few years ago.
Okay.
What else have I sold? I sold my Drakari. I've sold an Eldar army. I've sold a Tau army. I sold a chunk of Sisters of Battle before. I've sold my Guard army that I've built. Loads of fantasy armies.
Just because you didn't have time for them, or you needed money?
I got bored, effectively.
Okay.
And I used to sell one and use it to finance a new one.
Yeah, that's what Andrew does. He's forever selling an army, and then like the Votann come out, and he's like, "You'll just buy the whole Votann."
Yeah.
Andrew was laughing like when he got like crazy good money for his Necrons, and his Necrons weren't even painted good. We couldn't understand it. It was like if a model cost like £100 from Forge World, he was getting 150 just because it was made and it had like a bang average paint job on it, and we were like, why are people paying so much for this? And I guess it's like some people just don't want to build all those fine cast Forge World kits. I guess they just want the easy life. Right?
I can't blame them. Resident model building is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
There are people who commission builds, so they're not, rather than commission painting things, they just have someone build all their bits for them.
Yeah. I know a couple of guys, like Brett's done that before, and Brett was like, I hate doing commissions for building stuff, I find it so boring.
Yeah, so I've never done that for anybody, and I don't take that many commission paint jobs anymore, so I don't have time.
Yeah. You'll get back there. I'm finding that I'm sort of getting, like, my kids are getting to an age now where, like, on a weekend or something, I can actually just have one of them sit next to me and watch a movie.
That's quite nice.
Yeah, and like watch the whole movie, and I can just have some time to myself to, you know, do some YouTube stuff or paint something or get some work done. I don't know. Yeah. We watched Empire Strikes Back with Annabella this weekend.
Nice. I went through, so I renewed my Disney Plus membership because it expired over Christmas.
Okay.
And I renewed it, and then I sat down while I was marking exam papers, and I watched through episode 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, cool. Take it you haven't watched them in a while.
I haven't watched them in a while, and I decided that I'm going to do all of Star Wars in chronological order.
Okay.
Because I've never watched. I started watching it a couple of times. Clone Wars.
Yes. The cartoon.
Yeah, because I know you and Mark both really rate that.
Yeah, I know. I like that, and I did like Rebels as well. We've been watching Rebels as well, but see what's funny with a 4-year-old, right? We watched Empire Strikes Back, which is my favourite Star Wars film. Obviously, I grew up with Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, and like when he goes like, Luke, Obi-Wan lied to you, and like Luke's all distressed and stuff, and he goes, I am your father, right? And she just looks at me and she goes, why did he say that? And I was like, because he's his father. And she's like, why is his father gone to the dark side? And I was like, I don't know, he's gone to the dark side. And then so we finished it, and like obviously ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. Luke's just got his new hand on, all that sort of stuff. And we said to her, there's another one where we meet the Ewoks. And she was like, no, Daddy, I just want to watch Empire Strikes Back again. And I was like, are you sure? You want to just watch the whole of Empire Strikes Back again? She's like, yeah. It's like, okay. So she literally just finished it, watched the whole thing again. I was like, do you remember when you were a kid and you could do that? You finish a movie and you were just like... no
concept of... You're either always bored or never bored.
Yeah. You're just like, I will just watch that entire movie in its entirety again. I was like, okay. I was like, cool, I get another 2 hours to just hang out, and like, I got that new Final Fantasy game, so I'll just play that. Yeah, I chose not to remember episodes 7 through 9 either. I don't think many people...
I've never seen them. I've seen episode 7. I've seen episode 8, but I've never watched episode 9.
Okay. Well, I
mean,
mean,
zero interest in doing so.
Yeah, I've watched it once in the cinema and then properly forgot it.
Do you remember we made that video on the best Star Wars?
I do remember that, yeah.
That was quite a fun video to do, actually. We are starting to put together the stuff for the best 90s movies, but some of the choices that you gentlemen have been putting on there are a little bit questionable.
Is Braveheart a questionable choice for best 90s movie?
No. Well, I don't know about best 90s movie. It's a good 90s movie.
Don't Miss the Bad Batch. I haven't been watching the Bad Batch, actually. It's good, isn't it?
I'm excited to try and watch it, but I need to watch the other stuff first.
I really liked Andor. I thought that was a really good show.
Yeah, that looks right up my street, that does, which is the other reason that I've renewed my Disney Plus to watch it.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? In a few years' time, you won't be able to cancel your Disney Plus, because that's where I am. The kids watch far too much stuff on Disney Plus, so it's like, we're stuck with Disney Plus now. So, I mean, you know, it's fine, I suppose. There is a lot of good stuff, and there's all the Marvel stuff on Disney Plus as well. So,
yeah,
I know that people are kind of hating on Marvel, but I mean, I still kind of like it.
I really did like it, and I like a lot of the old stuff, but I don't like the way. I haven't enjoyed anything from them for a few years now. I started watching Loki, and I was enjoying that, and I need to carry on watching that.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Loki was good.
But I don't like the a lot of the new movies. Just don't click with me. I feel like they're working too hard to give me messages about things and not hard enough to give me people punching other people.
Okay.
Because another famous, I was talking to some students about this the other day. I really didn't like Jessica Jones. I know it was a Netflix one, and I really wanted to like Jessica Jones because all the people involved are really amazing actors. But I didn't like it because there was too much sex in it. And maybe I'm just a bit of a weird prude. But what I really wanted to see was Jessica Jones punching people.
Okay.
And I felt there wasn't enough of that, and there was too much of everything else. Yeah, and I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, do you know what? I've watched some of the new Star Trek, not all of it, some of it.
Discovery.
I watched, I think, 3 or 4 seasons of Discovery. But I started watching Strange New Worlds. That's the one that Mark keeps going on about,
and
that feels like old Star Trek. Sorry, but we've cancelled. It was getting to a point. I told my wife, like, we can have like 2 or 3 streaming things because like we've got 7 of them or something ridiculous, and we watch about 2 shows a month. So why the hell are we paying for 7 streaming things? So no, we have Disney Plus and we have Netflix, and that's all we have at the moment.
So we've got Disney Plus because I've just literally this last weekend bought it again.
Yeah.
We've got Netflix. And we've got Amazon.
Yeah, I like there's a lot of good stuff on Apple TV, but
I've heard that. Yeah.
They send out a lot of free trials. If you watch like a hawk, you can get a lot of free trials for Apple TV.
I've been told The Silo is something I'd enjoy.
That is good, yeah. Rizzo says he was bored with the MCU before Endgame. I don't know. I liked Endgame. And like I said, I'm not even really a comic book fan, but I did like Endgame. I
think I was getting to that point, to be honest. I was getting a bit bored of it. I didn't really like Endgame.
Do you know what?
No, I didn't. There were some bits of it I liked, and there were some bits of it that were just bloody stupid.
My favourite type of movie of all time, like if I had to pick one type or one genre of movie that I like more than anything else, is time travel.
Really?
Yeah. One of the first movies I remember seeing with my dad, probably in the very, very early 90s, maybe late 80s, was Back to the Future. And I guess I just always like movies that have time travel in them.
For me, it's the cyberpunk stuff. Yeah. So my all-time favourite movie, and this is a spoiler for our 90s movies episode, my all-time favourite movie is The Matrix.
Oh yeah, good movie though.
That's I've always loved it. I remember watching it the first time and being like your daughter was with Empire, and I just rewound it because it was a VHS.
Yes.
And put it on again. And even now, that film just blows my mind. I went to see The Matrix Reloaded, to the sequel, which isn't even that good.
No.
4 times at the cinema I saw that.
Wow. Matrix was a good movie.
So I really like kind of cyberpunky.
Would you say Matrix is a
Cyberpunk
cyberpunk as a because the dystopian part of the human culture outside the Matrix is cyberpunk? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the part that I just think is so cool. I love Blade Runner. That's one of my all-time favourites. That's got an amazing aesthetic. Those sorts of films are my favourite. I can watch it all day.
Yeah. I've not seen. I was going to say I've been meaning to watch the new Blade Runner. I still haven't seen it.
Have you not? I saw that at the IMAX, and that was pretty special watching the IMAX. That
the one that I'm jealous of. Everybody's telling me to see Dune Part 2, and I'm like, I can't get
seen Dune Part 1.
Oh, have you not? Well, I can't get babysitting for Dune Part 2, unfortunately.
If I'm honest, I'm a little bit biased against it
because
I love the original.
Yeah,
Nobody likes the original Dune.
No,
I like the original Dune.
Do you know what I liked about the original? Well, maybe not the original. I liked this. Do you remember the series that the Science Fiction Channel did?
I do, yeah, the sci-fi series. That was Children of Dune or something, wasn't it?
They did the whole movie as well. I liked that.
I think so. I actually bought that. I've got like a collector's box set of it. It was really low budget, but it was. I thought it was pretty good.
Are you looking forward to the upcoming Fallout series? I must admit, I've never played the Fallout video games.
Have you not?
No.
See, I'm a big fan of those. But then you quite like your multiplayer games, don't you?
That's the problem with multiplayer games: is they eat up all the time, and you don't play the single player games.
So I've never been into multiplayer, and I only ever really play single player games. So, I love the Fallout games. I've played them all. I've finished them all. I've modded them all, and had all sorts of fun.
Cool. So are you going to watch the Fallout series then?
Probably, yeah. To be honest.
Yeah, loads of people in chat actually saying they like the David Lynch Dune. I mean,
really?
Yeah.
I just thought it was. I remember watching it. I must have been. I was a kid. I was probably a teenager when I first watched that, and I just thought it was so cool. I remember the Baron Harkonnen being so gross in that, and.
So apparently, one of the Harkonnen villains in the new movie is supposed to be It's supposed to be like it's not Baron Harkonnen. It's like another Harkonnen, but it's played by the guy that played that Elvis in that recent movie.
Oh yeah.
So I know nothing about Dune 2. I'm kind of keeping don't spoil it for me, guys, please. But I'm going to very much enjoy it because I did like the mini-series that Science Fiction did. I did like the David Lynch movie, and believe it or not, about 40 years ago, maybe not 40, 30 years ago, I read the book.
Bloody hell, John, you don't read books.
I did when I was a kid, man.
You listen to audiobooks, but only if they're Star Wars.
I did when I was a kid. I read a lot of books when I was a kid. I
still do. Talking to Star Wars for a second, and books. When I was making the little pack opening videos, I started getting really desperate, so I started putting actually in them my books. So I was like, come on, give me a wedge if I put the Rogue Squadron book next to it.
Oh, right, okay, cool.
It didn't work. I was hoping like there'd be some sort of like transmogrification thing going on, where if I put the Rogue Squadron books next to the packs of cards, I would get the Rogue Squadron cards out of the pack.
Yeah, I haven't got any wedges.
But I love these books. They're so yellow now. You see, I've had them for so long.
Yes.
I've read them so many times.
I can show you one of my... because I've been tidying up this room, actually.
Yeah.
Look at this book. Do you ever read this baby?
I don't know yet.
I don't know.
It takes 10
it takes a minute to appear on your stream. This is one yellow book that has been read. I must have read this like... The spine is so bust. I must have read this book like 10 times. I could literally just open the first page and start reading it to you again.
Oh yes, yeah, I've read that. The Chris books, yeah.
Yeah, that's the original trilogy.
I've actually got that copy as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when I can read this to my daughter. And it just starts with violent murder, doesn't it?
It does. I've started reading. My little boy's only a year old, but I've already started reading Pratchett to him because I'm a huge Pratchett fan.
Antonius is like, so in June 2 is about to tell us the whole plot of the movie. Welcome to the stream, Foz. How are you? How you been getting on with your Blood Angels, Foz? Are you winning games? I won again last night. 6 in a row now since I've moved to the Sons of Sanguinius detachment. This always happens to me though, right? I go into my stream and I win and I win and I win and I win and I win, and it gets ridiculous. Like I'll get, like I reckon probably what will happen is I'll play 15 or 20 games in a row on stream against everybody's army, Collins, Andrews, Miles's, and they'll all tailor their list to try and beat me, and I'll beat all of them. And because I beat all of them, I never really change my list because I don't learn anything because I never lose. And then I go to a tournament and I lose a bunch of games.
You get absolutely smashed.
Yeah, there'll be some matchup I don't know how to deal with because I never get to play it, like Necrons or something, and I'll lose and I'll be upset. It's the same. I guess that's what happens when you do not play against all 20-something different enemy armies now. And that's, in some ways, that's a problem I think 40k has, in that there's too many factions.
I mean, there is from a balance perspective, but I quite like the fact there's so many factions because you can't. It makes it much harder to have a completely optimal, perfect list, unless you're one of these people that have all the access to it. Most people, most games you play, you're going to fight something new, you're going to see something new, so it doesn't start to get too boring. Because one thing I've noticed for this TCG is quite quickly people are optimizing.
Yes, very quickly.
You know, they're working out what cards are good, what cards are bad, and it won't take long before the optimal lists for each type of leader comes out, and the leaders, the optimal leaders will come out, and then what is there left to do?
True. Well, then they release more cards, and then things move on, and it's a never-ending cycle of you have to buy more cards, right? So
I just feel like with 40k, you don't really get that quite so much.
No, it's much harder to chase a meta in 40k because it costs you thousands of pounds, I guess.
Yeah,
but people still do it.
You've not seen before, and also there's always those crazy bastards that make some sort of like weird anti-meta list.
Yes, that's true. Very true.
That you've never seen before. It's normally me. Because I like doing weird, wacky shit.
Yeah, you crazy bastard.
And that means it's exciting again, you know, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Did I see the tournament list that Auspex posted? Was that the New Zealand tournament? There was one that I haven't looked at this week, I must admit.
Might be, yeah.
The last 2 weeks I covered 2 very different Blood Angels lists. Like I covered like the all 7-man Death Company, giant Death Company blob just beating everybody. So we covered that. And then I also covered like another reasonably balanced one that won an event as well. So, and then I'm playing something completely different because I'm running 2 Land Raiders and 2 Predator Destructors, which friggin' nobody is running Predator Destructors, I think, for Blood Angels.
I like Predator Destructors. We talked about it on the vehicle tier list, but I really rate Predator Destructors at the moment. I think they're good for their points.
Yeah, I love them. I'm using them every week. I think they're great.
But then I also love Terminators as well, and nobody seems to like those at the moment.
Some people do.
I think that Terminators and Land Raiders and I think are really solid. Terminators led by Terminator chaplains.
Nova says he's getting his father into 40k. Great, good.
That'd be fun.
Unfortunately, my father's not still with us, but if he was and he was willing to do 40k, I would love it, man. Good for you. It's great to...
Mine is still with us, but his ideas of 40k are absolutely not. I do remember him taking me to Warhammer World, though, when I was a teenager.
There you go, well, legend.
Going, what are these kind of lunatics?
I honestly think my father was the same at some point when I was like, you know, it was like, you've done well in your exam, what do you want? That metal miniature right there. That's really what you want? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My dad actually used to drive me to 40k tournaments though, before I had a car and before I had driven. It was back Do you remember when you were a kid and you could not afford a carry case? So basically, what you had was like the Leviathan box with all your models just like jiggling around inside it, and you try and
just... You used to put bits of tissue paper in there to stop them bashing together.
Yeah, I used to use bog roll, like wrap them in bog roll
as well.
So basically, like you had them all wrapped up in toilet paper, and my dad used to turn up to my house and like take me to tournaments. But I just think it's kind of funny that like, you know, you could not afford a carry case, or I guess you had a choice: a carry case or another model. Of course, you chose the other model, right?
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
I used to. So when I must have been probably slightly older than you were then. When I was 16, I had a moped.
Okay, right on.
So I had a scooter and had a rack on the back, and I used to strap all my Warhammers to the back of this scooter.
Nice.
And go bloody miles. So I remember riding the scooter for 3 hours.
No way. Wow. You're a hardcore, man.
Those things, they do 30 miles an hour flat out. So 90 odd miles on a moped.
Your arse must have been raw.
All these boxes strapped to the back because I again didn't have a carry case.
Yeah. I was gonna say. You probably had no suspension on that thing either, right?
Yeah, it wasn't great. It had quite a lot of, it was a bit battered because I may have, because I was the age where I thought that if you pull wheelies and endos and things on a moped, that's gonna get you the girls.
Yes.
So it was.
Especially when you've got I was going to say, you pull the wheelie with your Warhammer strapped to the back, you are definitely getting the girls.
Absolutely. I was an absolute babe magnet.
I hope no. Hey guys, I was going to say, if you enjoyed that joke, like the stream. If you didn't enjoy the joke, then I guess you can. You're in the wrong place. But yeah. Yeah, no, I was most certainly not a babe magnet, but I did kill people with my blood angels, that's for sure.
I think actually at school I was playing Sisters of Battle when I was that age.
Yeah. I was playing blood angels, never changed. Yeah. I remember playing Colin actually at like one of those games where like you basically had a lunchbox that had some models in it. So like you just had after school you were playing with some random ass stuff. Like one person had a rhino and like one person had like a tactical squad and like someone else maybe just had like a character. Like everybody's armies were just all over the place.
Well, the kids at my school wanted to play a game, and I do bring them armies and that to play with when they haven't got one.
Mm-hmm.
But he really wanted to use some of his own models. I was like, yeah, of course you can. And his rhino that he was using was the free one that they did as miniature of the month. The epic one.
Okay.
I'm not sure that's a tournament legal model. He was like, it's a rhino. I was like, it is a rhino, yes. That is in fact true.
Oh dear.
I let him play with it, but
okay. That's very generous of you.
I wasn't playing against him. I topped up his army with other stuff. That was a laugh as well. So they wanted to play 500-point armies. So I said, right, I'll bring a couple of them in. So I brought in, a while ago I did it when I brought in a Custodes one because they really wanted to play Custodes. And the problem with Custodes at 500 points is they're just obnoxious.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
So this time, he wanted an army and... I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll do something different because he'd been using a lot of infantry and intercessors and stuff because that's what you get in starter sets.
Yes.
So I brought him a Blood Angels army, which consisted of, this is at 500 points, remember? It was 510 points, but then that was all right because I was fudging the numbers anyway. And I brought him 2 Vindicators, a Tech Marine, and a squad of intercessors.
That would be pretty obnoxious in 500 points as well, to be fair, right?
It was a laugh.
Yeah, I mean, but... the guy who's playing is just going to lose 10 models in turn 1 when both Vindicators open fire.
No, not with the way these kids play.
No. Okay.
Like when you're watching, it's like, why would you do that? Like, deep striking things miles away from anything but not in cover.
Okay, sure.
Or driving all your vehicles behind a building so they can't see anything.
Nice. Okay.
This sort of stuff. Yeah, these are kids. They're 10-year-olds, you know, or 12-year-olds.
Yeah. Kids do weird things.
Eternal Crusader. Hey, babe, you want to see 5 inches of action? Whips out his Land Raider.
Land Raiders move 12, baby.
Oh dear, I need a smaller brush. No, and I apologise unreservedly for anybody watching and knowing my love of giant brushes. I've had to move from my size 3 to a size 1 very briefly.
Well, I'm just guessing with what I just think that this is a lot of red, this Land Raider.
Well, it's a big old tank.
Yeah, so I figure, like, I know lots of people keep it very red, but I feel like I'm not good enough painter to keep it all red, or I can't be bothered.
So maybe just get bored with painting it all that red.
Yeah, or it'll look very too bright, so I'm going to break it up with black. And do you know what? That black actually looks kind of decent.
Well, the Horus Heresy scheme is quite a lot more black in it.
Yeah, so black.
I think that looks quite cool.
Thank you. I think it'll look okay.
I think it'll look good.
Red, black, and gold. That's my jam, anyway.
Mike says he used to take his old Predator Annihilator, but it had 1 heavy bolter sponsor and 1 heavy flamer one.
I thought you were going to say like 1 heavy bolter and the other sponsor just broken off and lost. I mean, I could get on board with that.
I certainly had a few of those, yeah.
The good old days. Back in the day, though, every single kid's Dante's axe snapped off, though, right?
Yeah.
That was a thing.
The other day, my metal Dante, but his axe is snapped off, and I can't find it.
Can't find axe. I probably have an axe I could send you.
Yeah. I've got a resin old Dante that I haven't actually built and painted yet, and I keep meaning to, just for a laugh. But I'm going to use the metal backpack on something else because it's such a cool backpack that old one had.
It is.
The jump pack.
Yeah, his old metal jump pack is very cool. I'll give you that for sure. Ooh. Oh, my daughter had croup this morning.
Oh no, that's scary.
Yeah, that was scary. So here's the thing. That I'm off topic, guys. If you don't know what croup is, basically it is when adults get like throat infections. You probably have like a sore throat or a cough. When a very young kid gets croup, it can cause swelling in their throat and they can struggle to breathe, right? So like I woke up this morning half an hour before my alarm because my daughter was coughing and asking for a drink, and then like sort of once I came to, Tony, like the second she coughed, it was like, it sounds a bit like a barking seal is what they cough. So it's like this really like sort of cough where there's like a real weird seal sort of component to it. So she coughed like that. And I looked over at her and was like, "Oh, you've got croup, Annabella." And she tried to speak and she was like super hoarse. She's like, "Oh, I can't speak, Daddy," or something like, right. And I'm like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Oh, excuse my language. So I just instantly like went to the bedroom window and threw the window open because I remember last time that they basically said like if they get cold air like into their throat, it will actually like tackle it.
Yeah,
like,
that's what the when Alan had it, that's what the ambulance drivers told me.
Yeah, so I threw the window open and like straight away was like on the phone to 111, which is like the 24-hour. It's like emergency, but not like life-threatening emergency. There's because there's 999 here in the UK, which is equivalent of 911 in America. There's also 111 in the UK, which is like, we'll give you advice over the phone, and they might send you to like the emergency room, and then they make you appointments so you get like priority treatment at the emergency room if you need it. So I phoned them straight away, but we stood at the window for like 10 minutes, and I just told her like, and the whole time she's getting better, right, because the cold air is like causing the infection or the inflammation in her throat to go down, and we stood at the window for like 10 minutes. Basically, we stood at the window till it was too cold. It's like 10 degrees outside or something. So we stood at the window till it was too cold that we had to close the window because we were both in our jammers. And I took her through to my wife's room and said, I don't think we can put her to nursery today because I think she's got croup. So I need to work from home this morning because I know that you've got like an appointment. So finally got through. Took maybe half an hour to get through to emergency service, and the woman listened to Annabella, and she was like, "Sounds like she's doing a lot better." And I was like, "Yeah, she is doing a lot better." And she said, "You did exactly the right thing by, like, you know, getting her in nice cold fresh air." And apparently, if they're lying down, that's worse for it as well. I don't know why.
Really? I didn't know that.
But she said to me, if the best thing you did was get her up out of bed, like, don't leave them in like a stuffy room all lying down. And she said, what you need to do is just monitor it, but you might not need to do anything. And honestly, like, you know, like, so Charlotte went out to her appointment. She came back like 3 hours later, and I said, like, Annabella has barely coughed. I took her back outside like one more time, like once we had her clothes on for like 10 minutes. I was like, she's barely coughed all morning, so she's asleep now. Like, we never had to go to the emergency room or anything. We just, apparently the cold air can
enough
cure it. So yeah, I guess when that inevitably happens to you again, because that's the third time Annabella's had croup now.
I heard that apparently once they've had it once, it's much more likely they'll have it again.
Yeah, so she's had it 3 times now, and Michael's had it twice. So I guess the second it happens, if the second you realise it, you get them the hell outside into nice cold fresh air, keep them there as much as you can maybe avoid an emergency room visit.
Yeah, because that was awkward last time I had to do that.
Yeah, no, it's scary as well having to take your kid to the emergency room. Because you feel so helpless, like, as a parent who knows nothing about medical things.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
I know that's an obvious thing to say, but
yeah. It's like once you've had kids, you don't care about your own health or anything. You just care about your kids. No. It's like
I was joking about this the other day with my wife, because I went for drinks at the end of term with work, and I was a bit late getting there because I had something to finish up at work. So I said to everybody, "Look, don't worry, I'll meet you at the pub." I don't really know the city that I work in very well.
Oh, because you've just moved jobs, right?
It's a fairly new job. You've only been there since sort of September time. And so I used Google, and it took me to park in a supermarket car park, and then it took me on a path to walk across to this pub and across this bridge. And I was walking across, and it was really it started to get a bit dodgy, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
There were some pretty unsavoury people hanging around this kind of footpath/cycle way. It was dark, there's no lights or anything, and I was sitting there going, right, this is a bit shifty now. And I made a joke to Sharon. I was like, in my hand, I had my keys, but it wasn't like through my fist. No, I don't know. I had my keys, I had my wallet, and I had my phone. So the first person that looked even remotely shifty, I was going to hand them all over to them. But please don't hurt me.
Yeah.
Because I've got a little boy now, and I don't care about the contents of my wallet nearly as much as I care about being there for him.
Yeah. No, that's the thing that I was saying to you about my exercising. Like, I walk like 20 miles every week now, and I go on the cross trainer 3 times a week now, and I never did any of that before. And I said to my wife the other day, I want to live till I'm 100. Like, I want to be fit. I want to give, like, your heart is a muscle. I want to give it the best chance it can have to keep me going till I'm 100.
The only reason I lost all that weight was because of that.
Yeah. Kids change your mindset, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Plus, they also really hamper your Warhammer hobbies, so here we are, trying to get as much done in a short period of time, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got another Land Raider that is equally as unpainted as this one, you know that? And I'm using both of them in my list, go figure. I never dreamed, after years of painting all those jump infantry, that I'd be like, right, I really need to finish those damn Land Raiders, because they're core in my list right now. And what's even worse is
special Warhammer World Land Raiders up there. You know, the one that you can only get from Warhammer World.
The Excelsior, is it?
No, it's the one. It might be actually. It's the one that's like a command Land Raider.
Yeah, I believe it's called the Excelsior because Marius sent me the transfer sheet from it for the Blood Angels because he didn't need it. He bought it for his Ultramarines.
So it's a really cool looking Land Raider. I will build it and I will paint it. I'm just gonna run it as a regular Land Raider.
Yeah, why not? I don't think it'll have rules for the special version anymore.
The Legends.
There'll be Legends, yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when did it come with a Rhino as well? Was it like a double box? Was it not like
a double box with a Rhino and like command Rhino and a command Land Raider?
Yeah, no, that's cool. I remember seeing that when I was at Warhammer World. It must have just been out of reach in terms of financial.
It wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
Although actually, comparatively, it's not particularly expensive because it hasn't ever really gone up in price as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So whereas everything else has gotten really quite a lot more expensive over the years, I think it's about £80 or £90, but that's not outrageous for a Land Raider and a Rhino.
No, it's really not. Highland Phoenix says it's it's nice to it's nice to someone else wrote chat as well. I was reading it. He says it's nice to feel that you can run the Land Raiders and the Blood Angels detachment again, and actually like be part of it. Like they're not just making out the numbers, or they're not just
they're not there for a meme. They're there as an integral part of the army.
I do like that's one thing I do like. I do like when they change the meta, because it makes me paint stuff that I would not paint, right? Like,
but also, for me, it gives me a justification to paint whatever the hell I damn well please.
Yeah.
Because at some point, it'll be worth using, unless it just goes Legends or whatever. Let me catch up on the chatty thingy. Feeling that. Pretty dreadful habits. Like, oh, cheers, Marius. Thanks for that. He runs his Excelsior as a normal Land Raider. Apparently it's £100.
But you're right, then that hasn't gone up much comparatively to other things, right?
No, not really. So I think it's quite as reasonable as anything from Games Workshop is ever going to be.
Because
you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
I've got to stop leaning over. I'm not used to this angle that I've got the camera at, so I've just noticed that I keep leaning over and like completely putting my head in front of the camera, where I'm doing the dullest part of any paint job.
Which is what? Painting the blacks?
Out with the details. It takes ages and it's very boring. But it's got to be done. So all the armour's done the gold, but now all the little details, all these stupid little wings and things like that all need blacking out.
Yeah. Is black the colour that you always drop down on all the details?
Yeah, so stage one is always get your main, or for me, is always get my main armour colour sorted out, the main colour of the model. So I've got that, I've got it all nicely, bit of interest in there with that little bit of green and going from the duller to the brighter colours. The next thing I do is I go over the whole model, and everything that's not that gold armour colour gets painted black.
Okay.
And what that does is it kind of gives me, for want of a better term, a base coat.
Yes.
Yeah, an undercoat for all those other colours.
See, I do the same bit with Dawnstone, because I find that like a lot of colours just go over the top of Dawnstone very, very easily because it's such a light shade of grey.
Yeah.
What's the is a idiot, because I am an idiot when it comes to painting, and I've like I never. You know, when we started painting, there's no such thing as a YouTube tutorial. You just got some paints and you just went like, all right, let me paint.
Paints, and you might get a little leaflet inside your paint set or something like that.
And the Games Workshop leaflets were always OTT telling you need like 20 different colours, and I was like, well, I have 3, you know, because I'm not a maniac. Yeah, what's the logic behind the black? Would you like, let's say you had to paint yellow, because I always find I use the sunburst yellow Averland Sunset, and it's terrible coverage, right? So if you actually wanted to do like a yellow helmet, would you paint it black and then do multiple coats of yellow, or? No,
I'd paint it probably black or brown. I like using if you go, even if you're trying to build, so let's say you're doing a whole model that's yellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to get a nice gradient on it, because you're going to get your airbrush out. I know you haven't got one, but what you often see people doing with yellow is they'll do, or with any colour, is they'll do a kind of black to white gradient.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Which you see we did when we did that episode painting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you do that with yellow over the top, it actually turns this really nasty shade of green.
Okay.
It'll come up mostly yellow, but you'll have this horrible greenish colour to it, and it will just look really nasty. So what I tend to do with yellow, some people will use pink for it, but I tend to just use brown. So the base coat to paint the yellow over, I always start with a brown to white coverage, and then I paint the yellow over. So going back to your original question, if I needed to paint something yellow, I would probably black it out initially.
Yep.
Then if I'm not worrying about any gradients or anything like that, I would then do a pale grey over, a bit like you use your Dawnstone.
Yeah.
But I'd do that still over the black, not over the gold or something
over
like that.
Over the gold, okay.
And the reason for that is the black will give it a little bit more definition around your edges and things like that.
I was going to say, it's just going to be much more consistent over the black, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it'll give you, because you're going to go right the edges of things and bits that you're not necessarily going to Dawnstone in yellow, you're effectively going to blackline all of your details.
I see. Okay. Yeah,
it's going to make them pop out just that little bit more.
Cool. It's good to know what would be the next step in the evolution. I think, touch wood, I suppose, if this channel is still going, when I finally retire, then maybe I'll finally have time to do this stuff.
Hey, I bought you a set of oils.
You did buy me a set of oil watts.
Christmas.
I'm going to have to figure out how to use them. Very generous. Thank you.
I would do it with you, but the problem with oils is you get started and that doesn't take very long, and you get them all on the model and that doesn't take very long, and then you wait 24 hours for them to dry before you can do the next step.
I see.
So it'll be a really short stream, and then there'll be a lot of sitting around for 24 hours until we can do the next bit. So you're better off watching some good videos. So I'm a huge fan of Marco Frassoni.
Okay, well, you got to link him to me.
And he's an absolute master of painting things quickly and using oils and things as well to just add interest.
He's not the guy that speaks with the Eastern European accent, is he, or is that someone else?
He's Italian.
Italian. Okay, no. There was another painter that I saw recently that I hadn't seen before on YouTube that was speaking.
I'm trying to think who that might be. Night Shift is incredible. That's a great channel, but that's more about military modelling.
Okay. No, this was 40k. This was a video about oil washes, using them in 40k, actually.
That could well have been him, because he does do that sort of stuff.
It was like a white Space Marine army.
Oh, I know that's Zemeckis.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, Zemeckis, yeah.
And that's a great channel as well.
I watched his oil wash video.
Yeah. Cottle Paint did one. I did one about you doing panel lining with oils, if you remember.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
So Mako, yeah, I think so. James obviously watches him as well.
He's really good. It's a great channel.
Foz got invited to a new season of a Blood Bowl League. Are you going to go for it, Foz? Foz is asking what we're playing. What are we playing? Excuse me, cannot speak. Foz is asking, are we playing anything recently? Because he's been invited to a Blood Bowl League.
Oh, I do like a bit. I've got the new vampire models for Blood Bowl. They're not that new now; they're a few months old. But I did buy them because I think they're amazing looking. I do like a bit of Blood Bowl, as you know.
Yeah,
I tend to enjoy my specialist games a lot more than the main games, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I get out one night a week. That's my freedom from having two young children, and I play 40k, and I kind of love that I'm allowed to do that, right? Because it is, I don't want to say it's needed, but sometimes it is needed to just get some time without the kids.
It is. I don't really get that at the moment. I do occasionally get to play 40k, but usually I'll play while if if my wife and the kid are somewhere else, then I might be able to sneak one in. I certainly couldn't regularly do that.
So I must admit, I've picked up the same game that Tony and Mark have picked up, the Star Wars Unlimited card game. I don't think I want... Well, let me rephrase that. I cannot do another game that requires me to do painting as well, because I do not have time. Yeah, it's like I don't even really have enough time to paint my Blood Angels.
Yeah.
Because I want to make content for the BAC Commander channel, and so there's just not enough nights in the week, I guess.
Yeah.
So I cannot, as much as I have a lot of other games that need models painted, I'm just not doing them. I'm thinking what will actually happen is in 2 or 3 years more time, when my kids want to do some activity on a Saturday, like a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, I will paint models or I will play those other games with my kids.
The best one for that, I absolutely think, and this is having run it at the school and that for so long, is Warhammer Underworlds.
Because there's like 4 models in each faction, right? Or 4 models in each team.
You buy the box and you have the army.
Yeah.
So it's about 25 quid or something for a box, and that's all you need for that one. So you pick whichever army or faction looks the coolest to you at the time. You've got all the models for it. You can't add to it. You
that's
play
Shadespire,
with it,
right?
You get bored, and then you buy another.
Or is
one.
that's Shadespire, right?
That was one of them was Shadespire. I can't remember if the current season Shadespire. It changes every, I don't know, 6 months or a year or so.
So I have Shadespire in Cellophane that I won at a tournament.
Yeah.
From like 4 years ago now or something.
It doesn't really change though.
So
I mean,
yeah,
tournament players will tell you it definitely changes. But for you and I, who are just having a quick bash at it with kids, it doesn't change.
It would be fine, yeah. So that's when I'll do other painting for my other models and my other hobbies.
Yeah. You might get your Star Wars Legion done one day.
Yeah, but I sprayed all those stuff. I made them and I sprayed them. Like I've got I literally have a whole Rebel Alliance army that's been sat half painted now for the best part. Well, they've been half painted since before I started the BAC channel. So they've been half painted for 4.5 years. So it's but I feel like I'm never finished my Blood Angels, and also I think that if I go on the Blood Angels Commander channel and paint Star Wars, nobody wants to watch that. They're on the Blood Angels Commander channel to watch Blood Angels, right? So it's like
in all honesty, even though we're on the Grotty channel, which means we can technically paint whatever I want, I wanted to do this, so I've got another model, which is a Judge Dredd bust that I printed.
Okay.
Because I'm a huge 2000 AD fan. But then I thought, well, come on, I'm doing it with the Blood Angels Commander. I better paint a Blood Angel.
Could have painted whatever you want, but I'm I wanted to paint my Land Raider tonight because I haven't had a chance to paint it because I'm always making content or busy, you know. So
yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, I've picked up the Star Wars Unlimited game. I've played Mark 5 times. I've lost 5 times. Games take like 10 minutes. And
I've played Mark 1 time and won.
Yeah. So technically, you are the undefeated champion at the moment, then.
I'm at the moment. I've never lost a game. I mean, I've only ever played about 3, but
Ardeen says he wanted to see you pay the judge.
Sorry?
Ardeen said he would have liked to see you paint the judge.
I've not done many busts and things, so I was quite. That's why he's sitting there for me to do if I ever get time.
I was going to say because you used to do like a weekly painting stream on Grots.
I did, and that was before I had a tiny child.
You'll get back there. You'll get back there, I'm sure.
I do miss it. I missed my painting stream. That was always quite fun because it was, and this is really selfish, but it was just like a couple of hours of uninterrupted me time where I just painted a thing.
Yeah. Well, no, I you know how I was telling you I cleaned up this office because it was an absolute disaster, and I got some new shelving put up, and it feels like for the first time in probably since the first time I moved in this house like 2.5 years ago, it feels like I can, like behind me, I guess look on your stream in 10 seconds because of the lag, you'll just see like I have a whole shelf with no clutter on it and just all my paints laid out now, and it's like for the first time in 2.5 years, it feels like I did a stream last Saturday night where I just painted. I normally only paint for 90 minutes. I painted for like 2.5 hours. And was just like, oh my god, it feels so nice to paint in a room that's not full of clutter. I used to have boxes under every desk. There used to just be like boxes piled. There was tables in here, and basically the reason there was tables is because I could put boxes under.
Yeah, that's what my office is like at the moment. Well, for me, it's boxes and then boxes of exam papers.
Oh, right, yeah. Gotta love that when you gotta work from home. You gotta work all day and then you gotta work from home as well. It never ends.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's a bloody nightmare. But catching up on the chat. What we got? Mike does the same, changes the colour first, and oh yeah, so he does all the main colour first and does the black, same as I do. James wouldn't paint the little wings black, just Celestia grey. Not going to work up from white from black. I'm a lunatic, and I will. He uses XV88 as base for his yellows. Yeah, I can see that. Marco's at Adepticon. I'd love to go to Adepticon one day.
Oh, is he? Cool.
He's an incredible painter. If you ever get a chance to watch him. Rezzy's a fan of Underworlds as well for getting started. Marius likes Combat. I like Combat Patrol for that as well. So what I've been encouraging the kids to do is play Combat Patrol because they're all wanting to try 40k.
What about boarding actions? No one's a love for. I think
It's
boarding
too much
actions
paper.
is. It's such a missed opportunity. Like, why did they not just do boarding
It's
action
incredible for home,
rules?
and I love playing boarding action because for me, when I've got limited time, that's perfect.
Yeah, but they just.
If you're a
It's
kid
impossible
just
to get the
learning the
rules.
game, they haven't got all the terrain and that.
Yeah, I suppose.
So you can play boarding patrol. You can play combat patrol with a square table that's the wrong size for 40k
Yes.
and piles of textbooks as terrain.
And you don't need a lot of terrain. Yeah, I suppose that's
You
true.
don't need anything.
Yeah. Okay. No, you make a good point, I suppose. Point I'm reluctantly willing to listen to.
Because I love boarding actions as a game mode. It's a huge amount of fun.
Yeah, no, the two games I've had of it have been hella fun.
What else we got? Foz is a big fan of skirmish games as well. Yeah. Apparently, according to James Richards, there were 7 versions of Shadespire. That was quite a while ago. Aridem played with X-Wing. Oh, I remember X-Wings. That was a wicked game, and I love the miniatures.
And they're painted as well, miniatures in X-Wing, which is
Yeah,
great.
they are, but that's not for me. I like to paint them myself. Not that I've got time to do them. I told you I'm getting into, or trying to get into, Old World.
Oh, you told me that. Yeah.
So I've started building, and I've got.
So hold on a minute. Can I just clarify something before you get into Old World?
Yeah.
You've got Age of Sigmar First Edition in the cellophane on the sprue. You've got Age of Sigmar Third Edition in the cellophane on the sprue. But you thought, screw it, let's go Old World.
Yeah, I bought that.
Okay, all right. Shots
And
fired.
I found some old metal. So, and not only am I doing Old World, I'm doing an army that's an army of legacy or whatever. So,
Oh,
I've
right.
already started. I built myself the other night when we were streaming on the Unlimited Power one. I built myself a corpse cart.
Yeah.
So I've got a corpse cart. I've got some zombies and some skeletons. I've used my newfound 3D printer knowledge to start printing cool bases or bits to put on the bases.
Nice.
So I don't know if it'll come out, but that's my my like wraith.
Yeah, I think you can
Like
see him.
skeletons and tombstones and that all over the base.
He looks a lot like an Age of Sigmar model, right?
He isn't it? Well, he was originally a Warhammer fantasy model, but then he came across. They took him and made a whole faction out of him.
Yeah, the night something, the Nighthawk.
Nighthawk. Yeah, so I'm using a mixture of Age of Sigmar models because the new skeletons for Age of Sigmar are incredible, and the vampires,
Yep.
and old Warhammer Fantasy models, and then I'm going to mix in some Blood Bowl undead and every other kind of random undead that I can find to try and build this hodgepodge, mad, undead, zombie skeleton army.
That's cool.
I just think it'd be a laugh.
Why not?
And I loved Warhammer Fantasy. And the rules for Old World, I've had a good read through the rule book. I haven't been out playing games yet because I'm finished building the army, but are absolutely really, really, really well thought out. They look really fun.
Andrew was at Old World Tournament this weekend, you know that?
Was he? I didn't know.
He came second.
What faction did he take?
Empire, he took a steam tank, and
Yeah.
Miles said that Andrew literally bought a steam tank to a knife fight. Sounds like Andrew, right?
Does, yeah.
Yeah. He was like, the steam tank's amazing.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I love Andrew. He's always good fun.
What else we got? Mike says, I'll get back to painting one day. I hope I do. Resi says 40k gets more views. It's absolutely true. 40k gets every video we do, like the Battletech video. I thought the Battletech video the other week was pretty fun.
It was a fun video.
But the number
yes.
of views it gets compared to anything we do 40k is 10%.
Yeah.
Foz is going to go back and watch when I was painting Wilhelm Scheney. That was a really fun model. That was. I enjoyed painting that. That was my werewolf Blood Bowl character.
Yep.
Mike's agreeing about the terrain for boarding actions. Marius says that even his missus has gotten into to combat patrol.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mike wants to get 3D printed. So he says waiting for the next Elegoo sale. Well, there was one on eBay, as like a voucher come up on eBay a little while ago, and I got my Mars, whatever the latest Mars is, Mars 4 Ultra or something, for about 200 quid.
Oh, really?
That is a fantastic printer. Yeah, I bought it actually for the school.
Oh,
because
nice.
the kids were doing a unit on 3D printing, and the printers they had were all garbage. So I'd already given them my old Photon from years ago. So when I saw this one at a couple £100, I jumped on it, and then that's the one that I use for printing as well. So it's at school, the kids use it, but when the kids aren't using it, I like to stick the odd thing of my own on there.
Oh, I bet. Maybe you can paint yourself some Redeemer turrets, or have you? Oh, did you not have that problem? Do you have plenty of Redeemer turrets?
I actually don't have a Redeemer.
Well, I'm gonna have one with some turrets after tonight, and I guess I'm gonna have another colour on it, which is nice.
I don't have one. I never have. I've got a Crusader, but that's got metal sponsons.
That's an old Crusader, I guess.
Yep.
I have a couple of the old metal dreadnoughts.
I've only got one of them. I'd like an old Furioso, the twin.
Yeah, twin fist metal.
Twin fist one. But I've got an old classic Dreadnought. Do you remember the second edition Dreadnought with Blood Angels they did, which says Furioso on the label?
Yes.
But actually is like a regular pattern with a multi-melter.
Yeah, because the multi-melter was kind of yellow and kind of iconic, wasn't it?
I painted one exactly like that. So I got the model and I painted it to look like that.
Cool.
And that's a metal one.
Yeah, I've got that.
Like,
I've got that exact metal one. Yeah.
That's my favourite of the box dreads that I've got.
Yeah, old times.
Have you started using your wet palette yet, John? As I sit here putting colours on mine.
No. I don't.
Resi loves the Death Rattle skeletons. Yeah, I do as well. It's the reason I bought them. That whole lot was those skeleton models.
I think I probably pre-ordered that wet palette. Let's say I pre-ordered it before I had a kid. Because here's the thing. I used to have one of those. I actually just put it in the attic the other week. It was called like a lap desk, right?
Yeah,
like it's a desk that you open out. So every single night, like before I had the YouTube channel, every single night my wife would watch something on Netflix, and she watched a lot of reality TV and she watched a lot of stuff that I'm not interested in. But if I want to sit in the room, I'd either sit there and be bored and watch the stuff she watches, or I would paint, And so I had my lap desk. It was set up in my living room, like it literally lived on our living room table with all my paints and everything on it. And I would, and I think that's probably when I thought, like, hey, it would be pretty useful if I had a wet palette here. And then here's the thing.
Wet palette's incredible, yeah.
There's been 4 years where, like, I haven't done that because I can't have my paints just left set up in the living room because, like, one of the kids will probably eat the paint, right? So
yeah, but you can mix it on your desk in here, can't you?
Well,
because the beauty about a wet palette is I can put the lid on my wet palette now, and then I can come back to it tomorrow, and my paint's already there, and it won't change.
Sure, but at the moment I'm literally only painting once a week on BAC, which is Saturday nights. So here's my question: like, how does it work when you're only painting once a week?
Fine. In all honesty, yeah.
Won't go mouldy between.
It will eventually, but it will last a long time. And the other beauty is, you can see I've just got those on there. Well, they'll stay liquid for the whole painting session.
Mm-hmm.
They won't dry out while I'm doing things or doing coats and that.
Yeah.
So you end up wasting a lot less paint, and it means you're quicker to get started. So if you've only got 10 minutes, you haven't got to worry about getting your paint out and doing things. You pick your brush up, do a coat on something, put it down again, and then walk off and get on with your day.
I suppose. Yeah, no, like I do, if I ever have a time off work or whatnot, I definitely find myself, like, I like if I'm off work for 2 weeks, I might paint, like, off stream, like, 2 or 3 times. But yeah, when I'm on a normal week with work commitments and all this, it just felt like I never felt like I would justify using the wet palette because
Yeah.
I'm painting once a week at the moment.
It does make a huge difference, even once a week. I'm looking at buying another one just to keep at school, and I only paint at school once a week.
Okay.
Now, because I paint when I'm with the kids, when I'm teaching them, and I don't even do it every week because I'm just giving them painting lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss it so much when I don't have it that I think I want one for it. Mike says you're going to replace your scraping knife before you use your wet palette. Mike, it was the Elegoo shop I bought it from on eBay. He's got one of the Metal Furiosos. Foz liked a Battle Tech video. He said it was fun, but he has no intention of playing it.
Well, thanks for watching it, Foz. I do appreciate it.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah,
I use metal paint on my wet palette. I do occasionally use metal paint on my wet palette. People say you're not supposed to because it can soak through into the sponge, and maybe it can. But I've not really had a problem with it. The only thing is, though, that generally when I'm using metal paints, I'm only using them a little bit, so I don't need to put them on my wet palette because I don't use them that much. So it's not that I don't use them on there because I'm worried about it. I just don't use them on there because when I'm using them, I tend to only use a little tiny dollop. So I just stick it in one of those little metal dishes you saw me using earlier. A lot of the metallic stuff, especially big things like this, I'll do through the airbrush.
So you made good progress on that Dante for like an hour and a half, have you?
He's getting there. I've got the armors looking okay. I've blacked him out now. I'm just starting to do the axe, but I'm not quite sure how I want the axe to look. I'm not doing that lightning bolt. I'm just trying to figure out the placements of highlights and things on there.
Nice.
Marius can't get his wet palette to last more than one session. Absorbs water and goes oversaturated. Also, 2 go mouldy. Right, I have the same problem, Marius. What you need to do is when you're putting it away. So actually, I need to top mine up. So I'm going to top mine up now. So I'll do it on the camera so you can see it a bit better. All I'm doing is just down the edge of it. I'm just squirting a bit of water till I can see it. So I actually just use one of these bottles that used to have airbrush cleaner in it. So anyway, let's say I've finished my painting for the now. So I want to put it down. What you don't do is when you've got one of these red grass ones, especially because they have a great seal on them, is seal it up like that. Because what happens is it's hot in here because it's a house, I've got heating and things, the water evaporate in there, hit the lid of this and then fall back down on top of your paint, and that can spoil your paint a bit. So if you're going to use one in a warm place like this, just put the lid on, but just leave it cracked a little bit, so there's a little bit of a gap around a couple of the sides, and it will still stay moist, but it will just let any condensation out, and that will stop it from going so mouldy and dribbling water into your paint and ruining it.
And how long do you leave it cracked? Forever? You never seal it up?
Yeah, pretty much. Resi says he would get bleed through for the metallic pigments. You might do. I don't do it very often, but I've not noticed it when I have done it. Everyone says you shouldn't. So everyone says it probably for a reason, is all I'll say with that one.
Yeah.
I've just not really felt ever necessary to.
Well, I came into this having no idea what I was going to do with this Land Raider, other than try and get some... I could have just sat here and put more coats of red on it. But I think actually adding the black where I've added it has broken up the red really nicely. I'm feeling pleased with it.
I think it looks good. It's slightly a more, almost slightly heresy look you're going with there.
Maybe. I mean, but I genuinely don't try and copy other people's look sims. I don't copy art. I just do what, I just come to the table and wherever the paint lands is...
Setter, not a trend follower.
I wish. No, but yeah, I just do whatever, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same, to be honest. I just do whatever I want. I'm not really that worried. I try to sort of vaguely follow law when it comes to some colour schemes and things, but some people get really anal about it, and I'm really not that much. Like, for example, I still paint my assault intercessors with red helmets.
Yeah, they should have yellow
Because
helmets.
it follows me that they're still an intercessor, and intercessors have red helmets.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine they're going to repaint all their helmets every time they pick up a chainsword.
Nope. Unless they're going through some sort of mad conveyor spray belt, I guess.
You know, I just feel like they're quite busy. So they probably haven't got time to repaint their helmets just because they feel they need a chainsaw today, not their bolter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the exception being things like assault intercessors, which I paint like old assault marines, which do have a yellow helmet. I think that's because I started playing Blood Angels more in 3rd edition, when yellow helmet was fast attack.
Yeah. Yellow helmet used to be fast attack, didn't it?
Yeah, and I still think a bit like that, I think.
Yeah, I painted my Centurions with yellow helmets, and I do like them. I do think they look very cool.
Yeah, see, I'm going to paint my Centurions with blue helmets because they feel like more heavy support. The fact that it's heavy melee support is still...
Still heavy support to you.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's what's good about this hobby, is you do whatever makes you happy, right?
Resi calls them assault marines now, dropping all that intercessor nonsense. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I think I kind of agree. Do you think?
Me too. Just try. I cannot. I'm really struggling to visualize how I'm going to want this blue to look on this axe, and I'm just slapping paint on it at the moment just to try and get a bit of a feel for what I want to do with it. But I'm really struggling to get a kind of mental picture of how I want this to look.
Can I just remind you that you told me that you had a job interview or something tomorrow?
Why? What's the time?
5 to 11.
Okay, we should probably start rolling this up then.
Because I don't know what
I
time.
do, in fact, have an interview tomorrow.
Yes. So 5. We'll be here for 5 more minutes, guys. If there's anything and you desperately want us to answer in the chat, now's the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will answer it, and then I'm going to run off and go to bed. Because I've got to take some kids on a school trip tomorrow, and then I've got an interview and want to get back again. This axe is just not working yet.
You'll get there.
I will, but I'm just trying to feel it out.
Do you not have like a go-to method for power weapons for?
I do, and I'm not worried. It's the colours I'm happy with, but the pattern I'm not happy with.
Okay.
So I prefer doing swords, basically. If this was a sword, I would have done it by now.
You're good on swords.
Yeah, I find them easier to sort of feel the shape of them and how the light would work on it. And
oh, you're getting so many good lucks from the chat for your interview tomorrow, Tony.
Oh, cheers, guys. It's very kind of you. It's still at the same place I currently work at it, but it is a promotion.
Good. I hope you get it. Certainly put enough work in there. You deserve it.
Cheers. I've got to go to bed. I'm enjoying painting though, to be honest, because
I'm enjoying hanging out and painting.
I've picked up a paintbrush in a week, more than a week.
Oh, I haven't painted since last Saturday night, and I was enjoying just having a non-cluttered room, like I said to you. So it just felt nice to do, just have some space to work in and not feel like
absolutely
there's crap everywhere. So it's good. It's good.
So I think I'm getting there on this axe. It's just not quite
Marius, thanks for hanging out. Good to see you. I know I keep joking about coming to Elgin, but it would be great to see you at the GT, even if you don't come to play. Just come to say hi. I was actually gonna try and like buy pizzas for the Saturday evening for the GT. Like spend some of the money that I've got from the BAC channel and to make, you know, like just like a bonus for people that come into the GT.
Yeah.
So come for a slice of pizza. I know it's like a long drive for a slice of pizza, but still, you could come. I mean, anyone's welcome. I mean, you guys could fly from America, like Rezio. You could fly all the way from America first. I could get you a slice of pizza, Rez. Maybe make it 2 slices since you've come all that way, you know. Mike says we should both put pictures of what we've done after the stream on Discord. We certainly could.
Yeah, we could do. Yeah, Rezi just said the same thing. That's not a silly idea. I'm not very good at posting things on the Discord, I know. I do apologise. I probably should be a bit hotter on it.
Yeah. I'm just excited to finally have a non-monotone Land Raider.
I think it looks alright.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've painted a big vehicle. I think the last big vehicle I painted probably was my Super Heavy Tank, which was probably like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, so... and I'm excited to see what these 3D printed sponsons look like on it, because do you know what? By adding a coat of paint to those sponsons, they pretty much don't need magnetized. They're just going to sit in there super nice.
They're just that tight, are they?
They are. So look at that. There you go.
I think they look wicked.
They don't look bad. So I'm happy. Yeah. It was like £12. I did look at like how much would it cost to just buy a Redeemer, but it's like £70 or something. So I was like, okay.
I did the same actually, because like I said, I don't have a Redeemer.
Yeah.
It's a bit like I don't have a Bile Predator with Flamestorm sponsons.
Yeah, neither do I.
I've only got Bile Predators with assault cannons.
Yeah. Highland Phoenix says it seems like a flight to Inverness is best. Yeah, that's the closest airport to where I am. Alrighty. I guess I'm gonna go wash some brushes, Tony. It's been a pleasure.
It has, and I've enjoyed it. And thanks to everybody in the chat. You've been very supportive, and it's been great to be back doing a stream. To be honest.
Yeah. 90s movies is coming up, and if you see that at some point in your YouTube timeline and think this is not something I'm interested in for the 3 Grots because we like to see the 3 Grots do 40k, our 90s movie stream will probably be one of the best streams that we've ever done.
The 80s movie stream, I think, still is
our best stream ever.
I think it might be our best ever channel. So that's where the axe got to in the end.
It's good.
It's okay, but I need to get a bit more contrast and a bit more interest in there. And I'll bring the light down a bit so we can see it a bit better. That's where the armour and that got to as well. There he is, if I can bring him back.
He's well on his way.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Foz would love to come and visit the UK at some point. What are you going to do with the Crusader sponsons, John? I mean, I'm just going to leave them on there and I'm just going to play it as a Redeemer, but it's got Crusader sponsons as well, Mike. I figure that way, if at some point in the future Crusaders become meta again,
yeah,
I'm all good, right?
And wicked.
Cool. Alright, yeah, leave a like if you didn't do it, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, catch you later, mate. Bye.